Hey Aries, I need to talk to you about something that's been showing up in your cards lately, and honestly it's giving me chills in the best possible way. So, I just pulled cards for you and the universe is literally spelling out this message about trust and surrender, and I think you really need to hear this right now. Okay, so the first card that came out is Justice, and I have to tell you, when this card shows up at the beginning of a reading it's never random. Justice is card number 12 in the Major Arcana, and it represents this divine balance and fairness that's working behind the scenes. What's fascinating about Justice appearing for you right now, Aries, is that it's telling you the universe has been keeping track of everything. Every single thing you've been through, every challenge you've faced, every moment you've felt like giving up but didn't. The scales are balancing themselves out, and you don't need to know how or when or through what specific channel this is going to happen. I'm seeing with Justice that you've been someone who's always tried to figure everything out on your own. You're the type who needs to see the path clearly before you take the first step. You want to know the how, the when, the where, the exact sequence of events. But Justice is saying, listen, there's a divine order to things that operates beyond your logical mind. There's a fairness in the universe that doesn't need your micromanaging. You've done your part. You've put in the work, you've maintained your integrity even when it was hard. Now it's time to let the cosmic scales do their job. What I find really interesting about Justice in your reading is the energy of legal matters and contracts with the universe. It's like you signed this soul contract before you even came here, and part of that contract says you will be led to where you need to be. You don't have to force it. You don't have to manipulate circumstances. You don't have to have a backup plan for your backup plan. The universe is contractually obligated by cosmic law to guide you to your highest good. That's what Justice represents. It's not just about fairness in a general sense, it's about divine law and order working in your favor. The second card that came through is Seven of Pentacles, and oh my goodness Aries, this card is so important for you right now. Seven of Pentacles is all about patience and waiting for your harvest. It's that energy of a farmer who has planted seeds and tended to them, and now has to wait for the crops to grow. You can't pull on a plant to make it grow faster. You can't dig up the seeds every day to check if they're sprouting. You have to trust the natural process. What's coming through really strongly with Seven of Pentacles is that you're in this waiting period right now, and it's driving you absolutely crazy because you're an Aries. You're a cardinal fire sign. You want action, you want movement, you want results yesterday. But this card is saying that some things cannot be rushed. There's a divine timing to your manifestations, and you trying to figure out the how is actually slowing down the process. It's like you're standing in your garden with a checklist trying to control which plant grows first, and how tall it should be and what color the flowers should be. Meanwhile, the universe is like, please step back and let me do my magic. Seven of Pentacles is showing me that you've actually done all the hard work already. The seeds are planted. The soil is fertile. The conditions are perfect. Now you're in this phase where your only job is to water your garden with faith and trust. That's it. You don't need to know the mechanism by which a seed becomes a plant. You don't need to understand the botanical process. You just need to trust that it's happening beneath the surface even when you can't see it yet. I'm also getting with this card that you've been assessing your progress and feeling discouraged because you can't see tangible results yet. Seven of Pentacles often shows up when someone is in that frustrating middle phase where you've invested so much time and energy but the harvest hasn't come in yet. The universe is telling you through this card that your harvest is coming. It's growing right now. But you have to let go of needing to know exactly when and how it's going to appear. That's not your job. Your job is to maintain faith during the waiting period. The third card here is Seven of Swords, and okay, this one is really interesting because Seven of Swords traditionally talks about strategy and planning and sometimes even deception. But in the context of your reading, what I'm seeing is that this represents your tendency to try to outsmart the universe. You've been trying to figure out clever ways to make things happen. You've been strategizing and planning and creating these elaborate mental maps of how your life should unfold. Seven of Swords is showing me that you've been operating from this energy of I need to be 3 steps ahead. I need to have contingency plans. I need to know all the angles. And while strategy and planning have their place, this card is appearing as a gentle call out from the universe. It's saying, hey, you're putting way too much energy into trying to control outcomes. You're exhausting yourself with all this mental chess you're playing. What's fascinating about Seven of Swords in your spread is that it's highlighting how much mental energy you're spending on the how. How will this opportunity come to me? How will I meet the right person? How will I get from point A to point B? How will the money come through? How? And the universe is like, I love your curious mind, Aries, but you're giving yourself anxiety trying to figure out my job. Your job is to follow the intuitive nudges. My job is to arrange the how. I'm also seeing with Seven of Swords that there might be some self-sabotage happening because you don't trust the path that's unfolding. When you can't see the logical steps, you start second-guessing. You start thinking, maybe I should just take matters into my own hands. Maybe I should force this. Maybe I should manipulate this situation a little bit. And Seven of Swords is saying that energy right there. That's what's blocking your flow. The universe can't lead you when you're constantly trying to lead yourself based on limited human perspective. Now the fourth card is Four of Cups, and this is so perfect because Four of Cups represents this energy of being so focused on what you don't have or what you can't see that you're missing the gift that's being offered to you right now. In traditional tarot imagery, there's a person sitting under a tree looking at three cups on the ground. And they're so focused on those three cups that they don't notice a hand coming out of a cloud offering them a fourth cup. That's you right now, Aries. Four of Cups is showing me that the universe is literally trying to hand you opportunities and guidance and synchronicities, but you're not seeing them because you're too busy being disappointed that things aren't unfolding according to your timeline or your plan. You're so focused on the how that should be happening that you're missing the how that is happening. The universe works in mysterious ways, and sometimes the path to your desire looks completely different from what you imagined. What's really coming through with Four of Cups is this invitation to shift your perspective. Instead of sitting there with your arms crossed being like, well, I don't see how this is going to work. Try being open and receptive. Try looking around you for the signs and synchronicities that are already present. The universe has been dropping breadcrumbs for you, but you've been ignoring them because they don't fit your preconceived notion of how things should unfold. I'm also getting that Four of Cups is highlighting some emotional withdrawal or apathy that's happened because you're tired of hoping. You're tired of trusting. You're tired of waiting. So you've kind of checked out emotionally as a protective mechanism. But this card is saying that checking out is the worst thing you can do right now. This is the time to stay open, stay receptive, stay aware. The universe is actively trying to guide you, but you have to be present enough to notice the guidance. The fifth card that showed up is Five of Pentacles, and I know this might seem like a challenging card, but hear me out because the message here is really profound. Five of Pentacles traditionally represents hardship and feeling left out in the cold. It shows two people walking through a snowstorm past a church with stained glass windows. They're so focused on their struggle that they don't realize help is right behind that door. For you, Aries, Five of Pentacles is reflecting a fear you have. It's the fear that if you don't figure out the how, you're going to end up in lack. You're going to end up struggling. You're going to end up alone or without resources. This fear is what's driving your need to control and plan and strategize. You think that if you just know the how, you can prevent bad things from happening. But Five of Pentacles is showing you that this fear-based approach is actually creating more struggle. The powerful message in Five of Pentacles is that help is always available. Support is always there. The universe always has your back. But when you're in fear mode, when you're in survival mode, when you're frantically trying to figure everything out on your own, you can't see the help that's available. You walk right past the door that would lead you to warmth and safety because you're so convinced you have to do it all yourself. What the universe wants you to understand through Five of Pentacles is that you don't have to know the how, because the how includes divine support and assistance that you can't even imagine right now. There are people you haven't met yet who are going to help you. There are opportunities that don't exist in your current reality that are going to appear. There are resources you don't know about that are going to become available. But you have to trust. You have to let go of the fear that's making you feel like you need to control everything. The sixth card is Strength, and oh wow, Aries. Strength is card number 9 in the major arcana, and it represents inner power and courage and the ability to tame your fears. What's beautiful about Strength appearing in your reading is that it's showing me you have everything you need already within you to walk this path of trust. You have the strength to surrender control. You have the courage to step into the unknown. Strength in tarot shows a woman gently closing the mouth of a lion. It's not about force. It's not about aggression. It's about gentle mastery over your primal fears and instincts. Your primal instinct as an Aries is to charge ahead, to take control, to make things happen through sheer will. But strength is inviting you to a different kind of power. The power of trust. The power of surrender. The power of saying, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I'm going to stay calm and centered and faithful anyway. What I find really moving about strength in your spread is that it's acknowledging how hard this is for you. It's not easy for an Aries to let go of control. It's not easy for you to be patient. It's not easy for you to trust in invisible forces when you can't see concrete evidence. But strength is saying you're capable of this. You're strong enough to do the hardest thing, which is to do nothing and trust everything. I'm also seeing with strength that this is about taming your anxious mind. Your mind is like that lion. It's powerful, and it wants to protect you, and it thinks the way to protect you is to figure everything out in advance. But strength is teaching you to gently calm that part of yourself. To say, thank you for trying to keep me safe, but I've got this. I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to trust the universe. I'm going to trust that I don't need to know the how. The seventh card that came through is Five of Wands, and this is really illuminating because Five of Wands represents conflict and struggle and competition. What's showing up here is that you've been in this internal battle with yourself. Part of you wants to trust and surrender. Part of you wants to control and figure everything out. Part of you believes in the universe. Part of you thinks that's naive and you need to be practical. Five of Wands is highlighting this inner conflict where different parts of you are fighting for dominance. Your spiritual self knows that you don't need to know the how. Your ego self is terrified of not knowing. Your heart wants to trust. Your mind wants proof. And this internal struggle is exhausting you. It's taking up so much of your energy that could be used for actually following the guidance you're receiving. What's interesting about Five of Wands in this position is that it's also showing me external conflicts or challenges that have taught you to be defensive. Maybe you've been let down before. Maybe you've trusted before and it didn't work out the way you hoped. Maybe you've surrendered control before and felt like you got burned. So now you're in this protective stance where you're like, I'm not going through that again. I'm going to know the how this time. I'm going to be prepared. But Five of Wands is inviting you to put down your defenses. The struggles you've faced in the past don't mean you can't trust the universe now. In fact, all of those experiences were part of your path. They were part of how the universe was leading you even when you didn't realize it. Looking back, can you see how things that seemed like setbacks were actually redirections? How closed doors led you to better doors? How disappointments made space for something more aligned? The eighth card here is Six of Pentacles, and I love this because Six of Pentacles is all about the flow of giving and receiving. It shows a wealthy person distributing coins to people in need. This card represents generosity and charity and the understanding that resources flow in cycles. What comes around goes around. What you give, you receive. For you, Aries, Six of Pentacles is showing up to remind you that the universe operates on this principle of flow and reciprocity. When you trust the universe to lead the way, you're entering into a flow state. You're allowing yourself to receive the guidance and opportunities and blessings that are trying to reach you. But when you're in control mode, when you're in I need to know the how mode, you're actually blocking the flow. Six of Pentacles is also highlighting that you don't have to earn the universe's guidance. You don't have to prove yourself worthy. You don't have to have all the answers to receive divine support. The universe gives freely to those who are open to receiving. And right now, your work is to open your hands and your heart and say, okay, universe, I'm ready to receive. I don't know how you're going to do this, but I trust that you will. What's really beautiful about Six of Pentacles in your reading is the message of balance. You've been giving so much energy to trying to figure things out. Now it's time to receive. Receive the insights. Receive the synchronicities. Receive the unexpected help. Receive the mysterious support that shows up in ways you never could have planned or predicted. The universe is so generous when you allow yourself to be in the receiving mode. The ninth card is the Fool, and oh my goodness, Aries, the Fool is literally the perfect card for this reading. The Fool is card number 1 or 0 in the major arcana, and it represents new beginnings and taking a leap of faith. The Fool is depicted as someone standing at the edge of a cliff with a little dog and a bindle, about to step off into the unknown. This card is the ultimate representation of trusting the journey without knowing the how. The Fool is showing me that you're being called to a new beginning. But this beginning requires you to take a leap of faith. You're standing at the edge of something new and your mind is screaming at you with questions. But how will this work? But what if I fail? But what if I look foolish? But what's the plan? But where's the safety net? And the Fool is saying, sweetie, the whole point is that there isn't a clear plan. The whole point is that you have to trust. What I love about the Fool appearing in your reading is that this card doesn't represent foolishness in a negative sense. It represents the wisdom of innocence. The wisdom of trusting life. The wisdom of knowing that sometimes the best adventures come from not knowing where you're going. Think about it, Aries, if you knew every step of your journey in advance. Where would the magic be? Where would the surprise be? Where would the growth be? The Fool is also connected to Uranus energy, which is all about sudden changes and unexpected breakthroughs. The message here is that the universe is about to surprise you in the best way. But the surprise only works if you don't know it's coming. If you could figure out the how, it wouldn't be a divine intervention. It would just be your plan playing out. The universe wants to show you that there's a bigger intelligence at work here, and it's way better at orchestrating your life than your limited human perspective could ever be. I'm also seeing with the Fool that this is about childlike wonder and curiosity. Children don't need to know the how. They just explore and trust that the adults have it handled. Well, the universe is your cosmic parent and it's saying, I've got this handled. You just explore and play and follow your joy and I'll take care of the logistics. That's the energy of the Fool. It's trusting that you're supported even when you can't see the support. The 10th and final card is the Lovers, and this is such a beautiful note to end on because the Lovers is card number 7 in the major arcana and it represents choice and alignment and divine union. What's powerful about the Lovers appearing here is that it's showing me you have a choice right now. You can choose to keep trying to figure out the how on your own, or you can choose to enter into partnership with the universe. The Lovers represents a sacred union. And the message for you is that when you stop trying to do everything yourself and you enter into co-creation with the universe, magic happens. It's like being in a relationship where both people trust each other completely. You don't need to know every single thing your partner is thinking or planning because you trust them. That's the relationship the universe wants with you. What's also significant about the Lovers is that this card is ruled by Gemini energy, which is all about communication and connection. The universe is trying to communicate with you constantly. Through signs, through synchronicities, through intuitive hits, through random conversations, through songs that play at the perfect moment. But you have to be listening. You have to be paying attention. You have to trust that these little nudges are the universe leading the way. The Lovers is also highlighting that this journey of trust is ultimately a love story. It's you learning to love yourself enough to trust that you're worthy of divine guidance. It's you learning to love the universe enough to believe it has your best interests at heart. It's you falling in love with the mystery of life instead of needing to control every outcome. When you can surrender into that kind of trust, that's when the real magic begins. So Aries, here's what I want you to take away from this reading. The universe is literally begging you to stop trying to figure out the how. Your job is not to know the how. Your job is to clarify the what. What do you want? What lights you up? What feels aligned? Once you're clear on the what, the universe handles the how, and it will handle it in ways that are so much more creative and perfect than anything you could have planned. Every card in this spread is pointing to the same message. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust that you're being led. You don't need a roadmap. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the next step that feels right, and then the next step will be revealed. That's how the universe leads. Not through giving you a detailed instruction manual, but through lighting up the next right step and then the next and then the next. I really hope this reading resonated with you. If you felt the energy of these cards, drop a comment and let me know which card hit the hardest for you. And remember, the universe has got your back even when you can't see how. Especially when you can't see how.